Ladies and gentlemen, every day we wake up and follow a script, a series of decisions we barely notice, but that define the course of our lives. These are our habits. They guide what we do, how we think, and ultimately who we become. But what if I told you that the routines you're so comfortable with, the behaviors you've repeated for years, might actually be holding you back? What if the path to your greatest potential is blocked by the very patterns you trust the most? The truth is, your daily habits are not just actions, they're programs deeply embedded in your subconscious. And if left unchecked, they can lead you away from the life you truly desire. But here's the good news: the same habits that hurt you today can be transformed into the habits that build your tomorrow. Today, we're going to explore how to identify these invisible barriers, how to break free from the chains of familiarity, and how to rewire your mind for growth, success, and joy. Let's uncover how your daily habits are not just behaviors, they're the architecture of your destiny. Think about the first hour of your day. Is it a conscious expression of your goals, or is it an automatic replay of yesterday? The patterns you follow every morning might seem harmless: a scroll through your phone, a rush to get ready, a few fleeting thoughts about what needs to get done. But consider this: every action, every thought is a signal sent to your mind, reinforcing a specific identity. Habits by nature are designed for efficiency. They save energy, allowing us to operate on autopilot. But this efficiency comes at a cost. When you repeat a habit without questioning it, you reinforce the same emotional and mental states. And if those states are rooted in fear, doubt, or limitation, you're building a life that mirrors those very emotions. Your daily habits often operate like an invisible script, deeply ingrained and running in the background of your life. Most of us wake up each day and follow routines so seamlessly that we hardly notice their existence. They dictate how we spend our mornings, how we respond to stress, how we interact with others, and even how we perceive ourselves. These routines, while seemingly harmless, shape our reality in profound ways. What many fail to realize is that habits are not just actions, they are the manifestation of our subconscious programming. They stem from repeated thoughts and emotions that over time become automatic responses, embedding themselves in the deepest layers of our mind. Every thought, emotion, and behavior that you repeat consistently creates neural pathways in the brain. These pathways become shortcuts for efficiency, allowing the mind to conserve energy and rely on established patterns. While this mechanism is essential for functioning, it also has a hidden cost. Habits formed without conscious intention don't just guide your actions, they define who you are. You begin to identify with these behaviors, believing that they represent your personality or your natural tendencies. But what if these habits are not aligned with the life you want to create? What if they are pulling you further away from your potential without you even noticing? The subconscious mind, which governs the majority of your habits, doesn't discern between what is beneficial and what is harmful. Its only job is to repeat what it knows. If you've spent years reinforcing patterns rooted in self-doubt, fear, or unworthiness, those patterns will continue to dominate your life. For example, if you habitually procrastinate, your mind begins to normalize that behavior. It no longer feels like a choice, but rather an intrinsic part of who you are. The same applies to habits of negative self-talk, emotional reactivity, or even physical routines that drain your energy rather than restore it. The challenge lies in the fact that these habits operate beneath your conscious awareness. You don't wake up thinking, "Today, I'll sabotage my growth." Yet, that's precisely what happens when you allow these deeply embedded routines to dictate your day. The power of subconscious routines is immense because they influence not only your actions, but also your perception of reality. If your habits revolve around scarcity, whether in thought, emotion, or behavior, you begin to see the world through that lens. Opportunities might present themselves, but your mind, conditioned by these habits, may overlook or dismiss them entirely. Consider the small, seemingly insignificant actions you repeat daily. The way you check your phone first thing in the morning, the way you approach your work or avoid certain tasks, the conversations you have with yourself, all of these create momentum. Over time, this momentum solidifies into a direction, whether intentional or not. And that direction is what shapes the quality of your relationships, your career, your health, and your overall sense of fulfillment. One of the most overlooked aspects of daily habits is their emotional component. Habits are not just physical or behavioral. They are deeply tied to your emotional states. If you consistently engage in habits that trigger stress, frustration, or sadness, you're training your brain to default to those emotional states. Over time, these emotions become part of your baseline experience. You may not even realize it, but your body starts to crave the familiarity of those emotions, perpetuating the cycle. This is why breaking old habits can feel uncomfortable. It's not just about changing the behavior, it's about disrupting the emotional patterns tied to that behavior. The paradox of subconscious routines is that they offer comfort while simultaneously creating stagnation. Your brain seeks familiarity because it feels safe, even when that familiarity is not serving your highest good. This is why people often resist change, even when they know it's necessary. The mind clings to what it knows, avoiding the unknown at all costs. But it's in the unknown that true growth and transformation occur. By understanding the power of subconscious routines, you begin to see how much of your life is influenced by patterns you may not have chosen consciously. It's not about blame or guilt, it's about awareness. Once you recognize the invisible forces guiding your actions, you reclaim the ability to change them. You start to realize that your habits are not fixed, they are malleable. They can be rewired, reshaped, and redirected toward a life of purpose, intention, and growth. Familiarity feels safe, it's comforting, predictable, and reassuring, offering a sense of stability in an ever changing world. Yet, this very familiarity often becomes the invisible barrier to personal growth and transformation. The routines and habits you cling to simply because they are known and consistent might be the very forces holding you back from realizing your full potential. While the brain thrives on repetition and structure, the paradox is that it can grow accustomed to conditions that no longer serve you, trapping you in a cycle of stagnation. At the core of this phenomenon lies the mind's natural preference for the familiar. This preference is not a flaw, it's a survival mechanism. The brain is designed to seek patterns and stick to them because they require less energy. New experiences, by contrast, demand attention, effort, and sometimes risk. Familiar routines, no matter how ineffective or counterproductive, offer comfort because they are predictable. This is why so many people resist stepping out of their comfort zones, even when they know it's necessary. But the comfort zone, while it may provide a sense of safety, often becomes a prison of limitation. Familiarity can trick you into believing that where you are is the best you can achieve. It creates a false sense of security, keeping you tethered to habits, behaviors, and environments that reinforce who you've been rather than who you're capable of becoming. Over time, this can lead to a subtle but powerful form of self-sabotage. You stop questioning your routines because they feel normal. You stop challenging yourself because growth feels uncertain. The cycle of stagnation begins when familiarity dulls your awareness. You stop noticing the ways in which your habits shape your reality because they blend into the background of your daily life. For example, you might continue working in a job that doesn't inspire you, not because it's fulfilling, but because it's familiar. Or you might stay in a relationship or social circle that no longer supports your growth simply because it feels known. Even the way you approach challenges might follow the same predictable patterns, limiting your ability to adapt or innovate. Familiarity is deceptive because it often feels like progress when in reality it's simply maintenance. You might convince yourself that sticking to your routines is responsible or that avoiding risk is a wise choice. While there's value in consistency, there's a fine line between stability and stagnation. If you never question your habits, your thoughts, or your beliefs, you risk becoming stuck in a loop where growth becomes impossible. Familiarity, when unchecked, creates resistance to change, and this resistance is where opportunities for transformation are lost. One of the most insidious aspects of familiarity is how it blinds you to possibility. When you're deeply entrenched in routine, your mind narrows its focus. It prioritizes what it already knows, filtering out new ideas, perspectives, or opportunities that could lead to growth. This tunnel vision prevents you from recognizing the full range of options available to you. Where you might dismiss new ideas as impractical or uncomfortable, not because they are, but because they challenge the stability of your familiar world. Familiarity also reinforces emotional patterns, some of which may not serve you. When you repeatedly engage in habits tied to certain emotions such as stress, frustration, or doubt, your brain begins to normalize those emotions. They become part of your default state, making it even harder to break free from the cycle. For example, if you habitually respond to challenges with avoidance or fear, those responses will feel increasingly natural over time. Breaking free from these emotional patterns requires a conscious effort to step into the unknown, to face the discomfort of growth head on. Breaking the hold of familiarity begins with awareness. The moment you start questioning your routines and recognizing the ways in which they limit you, you begin to shift your perspective. This process is not easy, as the mind will naturally resist change. It will try to pull you back into the comfort of what it knows, even when that comfort comes at the expense of your growth. This resistance is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're challenging the status quo, that you're stepping into the unfamiliar space where transformation happens. Familiarity may feel like a shield against the uncertainties of life, but it can also become a wall that separates you from your potential. Growth demands that you confront the discomfort of change, that you step beyond what is known and venture into new territory. This process requires courage and persistence, but the rewards are immeasurable. The power of habits lies in their ability to shape your daily experiences. Yet it is precisely this power that can work against you when those habits are misaligned with your goals. At their core, habits are patterns of behavior reinforced over time by repetition. They operate below the level of conscious thought, seamlessly guiding your actions and decisions without requiring your active attention. While this efficiency is essential for navigating life, it also means that habits once formed can perpetuate themselves, regardless of whether they serve your best interests. What makes bad habits so insidious is their ability to feel natural, even necessary. They integrate into the fabric of your routine, becoming second nature and often escaping scrutiny. For example, the way you automatically reach for your phone during moments of boredom, or how you seek comfort in unhealthy foods when stressed, are behaviors that might seem small in isolation. Yet, over time, they accumulate into patterns that shape the trajectory of your life. What starts as a single choice becomes a repeated action, which evolves into a habit that influences how you think, feel, and act. Bad habits are particularly challenging to break because they are often tied to short-term rewards. They provide instant gratification, a quick fix that soothes discomfort, boredom, or stress. For instance, procrastination might temporarily alleviate the pressure of a demanding task, and indulging in unhealthy foods might offer a fleeting sense of pleasure. These immediate rewards reinforce the habit, creating a feedback loop that strengthens its hold over time. Meanwhile, the long-term consequences, missed opportunities, declining health, or diminished self-esteem fade into the background, overshadowed by the allure of the present moment. The brain's role in maintaining bad habits cannot be overstated. Neural pathways strengthen with repetition, making the behavior easier to perform and harder to disrupt. The more you engage in a habit, the more deeply embedded it becomes in your brain structure. This is why breaking a habit can feel like swimming upstream. You're working against well-established neural patterns that resist change. Furthermore, bad habits often tap into the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine that reinforces the behavior. This biochemical response not only solidifies the habit, but also creates cravings that drive you to repeat it. Another layer of complexity arises when bad habits become intertwined with your identity. Over time, the actions you repeat shape how you see yourself. For example, if you consistently avoid challenges, you might begin to identify as someone who lacks resilience. If you regularly engage in negative self-talk, you may start to believe you are inherently flawed or incapable. These identity-based beliefs further entrench the habit, making it feel less like a choice and more like an unchangeable part of who you are. The environment plays a crucial role in reinforcing bad habits. The cues around you, whether it's the placement of your phone, the availability of certain foods, or the behaviors of those you interact with, act as triggers that act habitual responses. When you're in an environment that constantly exposes you to these cues, breaking the habit becomes exponentially more difficult. The brain learns to associate specific contexts with the habit, creating automatic responses that feel almost impossible to resist. Bad habits also thrive in the absence of conscious awareness. When you move through your day on autopilot, you're less likely to question the actions you take or the patterns you follow. This lack of mindfulness allows bad habits to persist unchecked, silently shaping your outcomes without your deliberate consent. It's not that you actively choose to hold on to these habits, it's that you fail to notice their presence and the impact they have on your life. The cost of bad habits is far greater than their immediate consequences. Over time, they erode your potential, limiting what you can achieve and how you experience life. They drain your energy, distract you from your goals, and create barriers to growth. Yet, because their effects are often gradual, it's easy to underestimate their influence. You might only recognize the toll they've taken after months or even years, when the patterns have become so deeply ingrained that changing them feels daunting. The path to overcoming bad habits begins with understanding their nature. Recognizing the triggers, rewards, and patterns that sustain them is the first step toward regaining control. By bringing these subconscious routines into conscious awareness, you create an opportunity to disrupt the cycle and replace harmful patterns with ones that align with your aspirations. The mind has an extraordinary ability to hold on to past experiences, memories, and emotions, often clinging to what it knows is a way of creating continuity and understanding. However, this tendency to dwell in the past can become a significant obstacle to personal growth and transformation. When you replay old narratives, revisit past mistakes, or carry emotional baggage, you inadvertently tether yourself to a version of reality that no longer serves you. The energy and focus required to move forward are instead consumed by the weight of what has already happened, leaving little room for progress or renewal. Living in the past often begins innocuously. You might find yourself reflecting on decisions you've made, replaying moments of failure, or reminiscing about situations that brought you joy or pain. While reflection can provide valuable insights, it can also become a trap when it turns into rumination. The mind starts looping through the same thoughts and emotions, reinforcing the neural pathways associated with those experiences. This repetition solidifies the past as a dominant narrative, making it harder to break free from its grip. Emotional patterns tied to the past are particularly powerful. The brain and body have a remarkable ability to memorize emotions connected to significant events. When you recall a painful experience, your body reacts as though it's happening again, releasing the same stress hormones and triggering the same physiological response. This creates a feedback loop where the emotions of the past are continually re-experienced in the present. Over time, these emotional imprints become part of your identity, shaping how you perceive yourself and the world around you. One of the most challenging aspects of living in the past is the way it distorts your perception of the present. When you're focused on what was, you lose sight of what is. Opportunities for growth, connection, and transformation are overlooked because your attention is consumed by memories and emotions that no longer have relevance to your current reality. The past becomes a filter through which you interpret the present, coloring your experiences with the residue of old wounds, doubts, or beliefs. This attachment to the past often manifests in limiting beliefs. You might tell yourself stories based on previous failures or circs, convincing yourself that you're not capable, deserving, or strong enough to achieve what you desire. These stories are not truths, they are interpretations of events shaped by the emotions and perspectives you held at the time. Yet when left unexamined, they become self-fulfilling prophecies, influencing your actions and decisions in ways that keep you stuck in familiar patterns. Relationships are another area where the past exerts a powerful influence. Old conflicts, unresolved grievances, or unmet expectations can linger, affecting how you interact with others in the present. You might project past hurts onto current relationships, assuming that history will repeat itself. This not only undermines your ability to connect authentically, but also reinforces a cycle of mistrust and disconnection. And to build meaningful relationships, you must let go of the narratives that keep you anchored to what was and instead embrace the potential of what could be. The past also affects your ability to embrace change. Growth requires stepping into the unknown, but when you're preoccupied with past experiences, the unknown can feel overwhelming or threatening. You might resist new opportunities because they don't align with the comfort of your past identity or because you fear repeating previous mistakes. This resistance creates a barrier to transformation as it prevents you from exploring the full range of possibilities available to you. Breaking free from the past begins with awareness. Recognizing the ways in which old narratives and emotions influence your present is the first step toward liberation. This process requires courage, as it often involves confronting pain, loss, or disappointment. However, it's through this confrontation that you gain the clarity and strength needed to release what no longer serves you. By choosing to focus on the present moment and the future you wish to create, you reclaim the power to shape your reality rather than being defined by your history. Your environment is a silent but powerful force that shapes your behavior, thoughts, and decisions more than you often realize. The places you inhabit, the people you surround yourself with, and the objects and cues within your physical and mental spaces all influence your habits and actions. Many of these influences are subtle, operating below the level of your conscious awareness. Yet they are always at work, reinforcing patterns that can either propel you toward your goals or pull you further away from them. Consider how your surroundings act as constant triggers for your behavior. A cluttered workspace might make it harder for you to focus, while an environment filled with distractions like your phone constantly buzzing with notifications can keep you from engaging in meaningful work. Every visual, auditory, or sensory cue within your environment has the potential to activate a habit loop, whether beneficial or harmful. Over time, these small influences accumulate, shaping your daily routine and ultimately your life trajectory. The people in your life are another critical aspect of your environment. Humans are inherently social beings, and your interactions with others have a profound impact on your mindset and behavior. The attitudes, beliefs, and habits of those around you can either inspire and uplift you or drain your energy and limit your potential. For instance, if you surround yourself with individuals who prioritize growth, positivity, and discipline, you are more likely to adopt those qualities yourself. Conversely, spending time with people who reinforce negativity, complacency, or self-doubt can reinforce those tendencies within you. Social environments also play a significant role in creating norms and expectations. When you're part of a group that values productivity, health, or personal development, you're more likely to align your actions with those values to fit in. On the other hand, environments that normalize unhealthy or unproductive behaviors can make it feel acceptable, even inevitable, to follow suit. This phenomenon highlights the importance of consciously choosing the people and groups you engage with, as they act as mirrors reflecting back the standards you begin to internalize. Physical spaces are equally influential. The layout of your home, office, or other frequently visited areas can either support or hinder your goals. For instance, having unhealthy snacks within easy reach can make it harder to maintain a balanced diet, while keeping fitness equipment visible and accessible can encourage you to prioritize exercise. The design of your environment matters because it shapes the path of least resistance. Humans tend to choose the easiest option available, and your surroundings often determine what that option is. The digital environment is another critical factor in today's world. The content you consume, whether through social media, news, or entertainment, influences your thoughts and emotions, shaping your mental landscape. Constant exposure to negativity, sensationalism, or superficial comparisons can drain your energy and erode your self-esteem. On the other hand, creating your digital environment to include uplifting, educational, and inspiring content can help you stay focused and motivated. The challenge lies in the fact that many aspects of your environment operate on autopilot. You might not consciously notice how your surroundings affect you because you become accustomed to them. The mess on your desk becomes background noise, the unhealthy habits of your social circle feel normal, and the endless scrolling through social media becomes routine. These unnoticed influences can create a sense of inertia, keeping you stuck in patterns that don't serve your highest potential. Changing your environment begins with awareness and intentionality. You must first identify the aspects of your surroundings that are holding you back, whether it's physical clutter, toxic relationships, or unproductive routines. Once you've identified these factors, you can take deliberate steps to reshape your environment to align with your goals. This might involve decluttering your spaces, seeking out new social connections, or redesigning your daily routines to prioritize what truly matters to you. Your environment should act as a support system for the life you want to create, not a barrier that keeps you trapped in old patterns. By aligning your surroundings with your values and aspirations, you create a foundation for lasting change. This alignment allows you to focus your energy on growth and transformation rather than battling the friction caused by an unsupportive environment. Every aspect of your surroundings, no matter how small, can either push you closer to your potential or pull you further away. Your body operates on intricate rhythms and cycles designed to function in harmony with nature and its laws. Yet in modern life, these natural rhythms are often disrupted by habits that prioritize convenience, instant gratification, or external demands over well-being. Ignoring these rhythms may seem insignificant in the moment, but the cumulative effect can lead to chronic fatigue, decreased performance, and an erosion of your physical and mental health. When you neglect the biological systems that sustain you, it becomes increasingly difficult to achieve clarity, focus, or the energy necessary to create meaningful change. Sleep, one of the most critical aspects of your natural rhythm, is often compromised. In the relentless pursuit of productivity or entertainment, people extend their waking hours far beyond what their bodies require to recharge. Late nights scrolling through screens, irregular sleep schedules, or a lack of restores disrupts the circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates sleep, energy, and alertness. This misalignment creates a cascade of consequences, from hormonal imbalances to impaired cognitive function, making it harder to think clearly, manage stress, or make empowered decisions. Nutrition, another cornerstone of your biological rhythm, is frequently neglected in favor of convenience. The fast paced nature of modern life encourages quick fixes, processed foods, sugary snacks, or skipping meals entirely. This approach disregards the body's need for consistent, nourishing fuel to sustain energy levels and maintain optimal function. Eating irregularly or relying on unhealthy options forces your body into a state of imbalance where blood sugar spikes and crashes become the norm. These fluctuations not only affect physical energy, but also impact mood, focus, and emotional resilience. Movement is another area where natural rhythms are often disrupted. The human body is designed for activity, yet sedentary lifestyles dominate in many modern environments. Long hours spent sitting at desks, in cars, or on couches create stagnation in the body, leading to stiffness, poor circulation, and a gradual decline in overall vitality. The lack of regular physical activity sends a signal to your body that it doesn't need to maintain its strength, flexibility, or endurance, weakening its ability to support you in the long term. Stress, both external and self imposed, compounds the disruption of these rhythms. When you live in a state of chronic stress, your body remains in a heightened state of alertness, ready to respond to perceived threats. This constant activation of the stress response system leads to elevated cortisol levels, which interfere with sleep, digestion, immune function, and even memory. Over time, this cycle becomes self perpetuating as poor health leads to increased stress, creating a loop that can feel nearly impossible to break. Technology, while a remarkable tool for connection and progress, also plays a significant role in disconnecting you from your natural rhythms. Artificial lighting, particularly blue light from screens, interferes with melatonin production, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. The constant availability of digital distractions keeps your mind overstimulated, leaving little space for rest or reflection. Instead of honoring the body's need for downtime, the pressure to always be available overrides the signals your body sends to rest and recharge. The effects of neglecting natural rhythms may not be immediately apparent, but they accumulate over time. Small sacrifices made in the name of productivity, convenience, or entertainment add up to create a life that feels out of sync. You might wake up tired, rely on caffeine to get through the day, or find yourself irritable and unfocused without understanding why. These are the subtle indicators that your body's needs are not being met, that its systems are working harder than they should to compensate for habits that work against it. Reconnecting with natural rhythms requires intentionality and a willingness to listen to your body's signals. It means prioritizing consistent sleep, nourishing meals, and regular movement, even when external pressures or distractions make it tempting to do otherwise. It involves creating boundaries around your time and energy, allowing space for rest, reflection, and recovery. As you begin to align your habits with the body's natural cycles, you restore balance and vitality, creating a foundation for sustained energy and clarity. This shift not only enhances your physical health, but also supports mental and emotional well-being, enabling you to show up fully for the life you wish to create. The life you live is a reflection of the habits you choose to nurture each day. Every action, no matter how small, contributes to the trajectory of your life, shaping your thoughts, behaviors, and future outcomes. The seemingly insignificant choices you make, how you spend your time, the people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, and the routines you follow either bring you closer to your highest potential or pull you further away from it. Awareness is the first step in transforming these patterns. By examining the habits that have become ingrained in your daily life, you uncover the invisible threads that hold you back. It's about identifying where you've allowed complacency, distraction, or unintentional choices to guide you and deciding with conviction to take back control. True change requires courage and consistency. It's not enough to recognize what needs to shift. You must also take deliberate steps to realign your actions with the vision of who you aspire to be. This process demands effort, discipline, and patience, but the reward is profound. A life lived with intention, clarity, and purpose. The habits you cultivate today create the foundation for your tomorrow. When you choose to break free from patterns that limit you and replace them with those that empower and uplift you, you reclaim the ability to design a future that aligns with your highest aspirations. It's not about perfection, but progress, committing to showing up each day as a little better, a little more aligned, and a little more aware than the day before. Your daily habits are not just behaviors, they are expressions of your values, beliefs, and vision for your life. By consciously shaping them, you unlock the power to transform not only your days, but also the course of your destiny. In this, you hold the key to creating a life that is not a product of circumstance, but a masterpiece of intentional design. Thank you.